Of all the topics that I expected to talk about regarding Pokémon Legends Z-A, I can assure you that Volo was not one of them. But hey, I'm notsoAceTrainer, and well, here we are. Let's get into it. Volo is the memorable villain from Pokémon Legends Arceus, the one that broke through Pokémon battle rules and threw out the 7th Pokémon, the Pokémon trapped by Arceus in the Distortion world. That being, of course, Giratina. Not only that, Giratina was a two-phase battle, with it using its origin form on us after we defeated it the first time. This was incredible and an absolutely awesome way to showcase how dangerous one can be when they're absolutely obsessed about something. Volo, in his case, was obsessed with finding Arceus in order to remake the world, with proving himself worthy of meeting the Alpha Pokémon. Something that we, the human that fell from the sky, did without a problem, and we did it while defeating him in the process. That's when the guy starts rambling about this and rambling about that and telling us that even if it takes him years or decades, no, centuries, he will conquer Arceus. Probably just some crazy sore loser, right? Well, maybe not quite. In Pokémon Legends Z-A, there is a reference to Volo, amongst many other references. You can check this video out if you haven't already. By the way, thank you for the support on it. But that reference is the clothing he uses when he finally goes crazy in the destroyed Temple of Sinnoh. But that's not the crazy part. The crazy part is that the man next to it says that the owner of that attire actually donated it himself to the museum, implying exactly what you think. Volo is alive. Now, some have said, and likely will say again, that it isn't Volo's, it is our own, the player from Legends Arceus, as yes, you can also buy that in the post-game. But look at our clothes from the game, right here in the museum, and then look at the mysterious ones. Do they look like they were made for the same person? It doesn't match our bodies. They are Volo's. The question is, how can Volo still be alive? While we didn't have an actual time frame for Pokémon Legends Arceus, it's undeniable that it happened so long ago that a character from there still being alive doesn't make a lot of sense. The way I see it, there are only two options, with them being equally valid, though I do like one of them more than the other, but you'll be the judge of that. And so let us start with the first one. In Pokémon Legends Z-A, we also learned about another character from that same world that is now in modern times. A character that was from now but went to then. I mean, of course, Ingo, one of the twins from the Battle Subway in Unova, which is now back up and running as the Suyan Sneasler Warden has returned to modern times. The only way for this to happen is in the same way that it happened before. Ingo was taken to Hisui through one of the space-time distortions, and then, most likely, was taken back in the exact same way. It is also possible that it was Arceus that took Ingo to Hisui as it did with the main character, since Ingo was a Pokemon Battle Master who could help the people of Hisui get ready for the incoming threat. When Arceus saw that Ingo wasn't enough, it kidnapped us, a child. The same might have happened with Volo. Instead of living for a long time, Volo took the easy time travel way out and just took a ride on one of those space-time distortions. After all, having deals with Giratina, he probably knew his way around them. And honestly, that would be it for the first option. But then again, there is something in the museum that makes me like the second option better. There, the same guy that tells us that the owner of those clothes was the same person that donated the clothes also tells us that that same owner was looking at the Laventon sketches with a nostalgic air. Now, if you've moved from the past to the present through one of those space-time distortions, you wouldn't feel very nostalgic about the whole thing because the past was just a while ago, assuming it happened recently. But you would if you have lived for a long time and were just witnessing those things again. And because of this, we have to look at the second option, the one I like the most. Volo is part of the people of Celestica. Their blood runs in his veins, or so he says. We haven't met many people from that lineage, but we have met a few, 4 of them to be exact. We have met Cynthia, Volo, Cynthia's grandma, and Cogita. All of them had something in common. They were interested in Pokemon myths, and some of them were tied to the lore of the Sinnoh region by being tasked with passing down that knowledge. While Cynthia's grandma is pretty old, she is part of games that didn't explore the lore in the same way that modern games do. But Cogita's discourse makes it seem like she is also very old. In fact, the way that the Old Verses author talks about their relationship with Inamoras, it feels as if Cogita was the one that wrote all of that and scattered them around Hisui during her travels with the recently discovered force of nature. And she even says, "It seems I'll be able to fulfill my duty at long last, thanks to you." This makes me think that people from that lineage, people from Celestica, live for a very long time, especially if they have a duty or a goal. We saw that duty being fulfilled by Cogita in Pokémon Legends Arceus, we saw it being fulfilled by Cynthia's grandma in the Gen 4 games, and we saw it being fulfilled by Cynthia in Heart Gold and Soul Silver and the whole Arceus event that we got at the Sinjo Ruins. Volo's whole obsession with Arceus and with creating a new world might have become his own, I don't want to say duty, but his task, his goal, and he lived to make sure that it would happen. And here's why I like this option better. It actually explains a few things. How did Cyrus come to learn so much about how to get to Dialga and Palkia? How did Cyrus come to have the same dream, the same goal as Volo? All of that history was lost. Only a few tied to Celestica had information about those myths, and even them, well, they didn't know everything. One could say that Cylene passed down that information to her descendants, as she said she would. But Cylene didn't know the specifics of the Sinnoh myth. And that's where Volo comes in. Volo influencing Cyrus and feeding him information would explain not only his knowledge, but also the similarities between their words and their dreams. But if you remember correctly, Cyrus did not know about Giratina. He called it the Shadow Pokemon, and Volo did. So if Volo was feeding Cyrus information, if he was teaching Cyrus, then he would know about that Pokemon, right? Well, that's true, but we can't forget one thing. Volo donating his attire to the museum implies something very interesting. It implies regret, a change of heart. Just like Cogita kept the pixie plate from Volo back in the days of Hisui, acting as if she didn't know what it was when she absolutely did, so did Volo keep Giratina and Arceus' existence hidden from Cyrus. And why? Well, for the same reason he donated his clothes. He realized that what he did was wrong. He realized, seeing himself in Cyrus, that his ways wouldn't lead to anything good. That's when Volo abandoned Cyrus and abandoned Sinnoh, leaving behind his private home and his shed where the Leviathan sketches were found. And that's why he looked at them with a nostalgic air. Those were his. And that's also why Cyrus's plan was incomplete, why it did not work. He did not know the full story. He wasn't told the full story. And now Volo is out there, Volo is alive, but just like with AZ, a long life of regret has shown them how wrong he was. But now it's up to you, space-time distortions or a painfully long lifetime? Let me know in the comments down below. And now, thank you so much for watching, this is all I have for you today, and I'll see you all on the next one. But before I go, I want to thank my YouTube member Good Old Deo and my Twitch subscribers Newbies Here, Zanes222, Lazarix, Dr. Joe, Dark Puffy 1, Ventura, Blinkfish, Streamer Maxis Back, and Official Noise for going that extra mile. Thank you so much for all of your support.